Welcome to Sennelier Red Studio. In the second episode of my art vlog, I would like to show you the whole process of working on a painting. I will be dividing a sheet of watercolor paper. I have my paper right here. I have full sheets of Kilimanjaro. And then I will test new pigment that I bought. I have it right here. It's called Sennelier Red, number 636, French watercolor manufacturer. And I found a perfect photo to paint with this color. You will see it right here on the screen. These pink geraniums, I will make them a little more red because I will be using this pigment. And I will try to paint them in a free-flowing, kind of loose style. So let's get started. To divide a full sheet of watercolor paper, especially a thick one like this 300-pound sheet, I think the following will be much easier than trying to cut it with a pair of scissors. I take everything off my work table, especially things like dirty water containers, and I clean it really well with a paper towel. I take full sheet of watercolor paper. This is 300-pound paper, 640 gram. It's best to just rip it. And this is how we do it, or at least this is how I do it. So I fold the paper. I don't press on it yet. I just fold it in two to connect the sides. Let me move it a little higher. And I hold really hard over here. And then I kind of slide my hand over so that it will fold in two. And I make a crease. My table is not very sturdy, but so I created a crease here in the middle. And next thing I do is I open the paper again and I fold it in the other direction along the crease, which is already much easier to do. So I basically break the fibers on both sides. And another thing we can do when we turn it over again, we can take a clean ruler or something like that. I have one right here. Just make sure there is no paint or no pencil on the edge. We can improve this crease, make it even better. Then I open. We can do this a few times, just folding back and forth. And then to tear it, it's better to just start it, kind of break it with your fingers. And then you hold this side and you pull on this side and you pull down. Don't pull up because you'll rip the other side, but pull down and it will separate along the crease pretty easily. And let's do the smallest sheet, create 2 quarter sheets out of it. Again, I put it with the edge away from me. I bend it and I connect the edges and I hold and I slide it in this direction. The crease. Then I fold it in the other direction and create a crease here. I smooth it out with my ruler. I open the sheet, make a little start with my fingers, and then I pull away, not up, but down and away. And I have 2 quarter sheets. So that's how you tear a sheet of watercolor paper. Now that we have our paper divided, I'm going to use quarter sheet to paint the flowers. I have a couple new materials in the studio today. I have my Asian Art soft brush that I'm using right now to first of all wet my paper because I want flowers to be painted in a loose, free-flowing style. And now I'm going to use the same brush to start on the flowers with Sennelier Red. I chose this color because it's basically the only red pigment that I could find that says transparent on the description on the manufacturer's catalog. All the other ones are semi-transparent. If you know any other transparent red pigments, please let me know in comments. I would love to test them. I'm always on the lookout for new pigments to try and to add to my palette. I would really appreciate your recommendations. And I wanted to mention that this is my second attempt at painting from this photo. I did it before on different paper, but I didn't finish this because I wanted it to be, like I said, loose and free-flowing, but I think what I did here, I was trying too hard and I was trying to color in all the negative spaces really carefully and not mess up the edges anywhere. And I think this painting, just the way it started, I was working so tightly and in such a controlled manner that I just got very tired and kind of discouraged, and I never finished. So I think with watercolor, it's very important to have fun and to almost like, like you're a singer or a performer, you have to feel that internal freedom and let it go and just let the color do its thing and flow on paper instead of trying to super tightly control it, because it's a recipe for failure, like what happened to me. So I hope you have fun painting and not get too overwhelmed or concerned about the results, because it's just a sheet of paper. So what's going to happen if you ruin it? You can always get another one and start over. I think the two most important things for loose watercolor painting and why it fails a lot of times is using too small of a brush. I used a relatively big brush. It's 1.5 inches wide for the painting, which is only 11 by 15 inches. That's the quarter sheet. Of course, I used this brush in combination with a little mop brush, but for the failed painting, I only used the mop brush and I couldn't paint loosely with it. It was too controlled. A bigger brush holds a lot of pigment and water. The colors flow and mix on paper. You get no streaks. At the same time, starting with a smaller brush allows you to control the edges, so that combination really helps you to work in that free-flowing, loose manner that we appreciate so much in watercolor painting. that's all for the second episode of my art vlog. I hope you enjoyed it and found some useful information, and I'll see you in the next video here on Sennelier Red Studios channel.